Welcome to Cardano Over Coffee with your host Hero Pool, Jenny from the blockchain, Lido Nation, co-hosts Epoch Pool, TCT, and BlockJock. Today we have Whiskey NFTs, a unique collection of 10,000 NFTs offering real-world utility on the Cardano blockchain. 50% unique digital art, 50% partial whiskey cask ownership. Then we have Turf NFTs, here to talk about the Cardano Summit and the unique NFTs they've created for the event. Sit back, relax, get a cup of coffee, and let's talk Cardano.
Yo.
You missed it.
Wait, did I miss it?
Oh, you missed it.
Oh, should I be worried?
So now that I have the recording going, I want to thank everybody for stopping by Cardano Over Coffee. Now we got guests today, Lido. And one's Whiskees, about whiskey, right down my alley. And the other one is Turf NFT, and they're going to talk about Summit NFTs because they're in charge of the Summit NFTs.
Summit? Summit or Summit?
Summit, like the summit that's going on this weekend.
Right. NFTs.
And I'm watching Charles right now, so we'll probably have no crowd because Charles is live right now on my TV screen.
On YouTube or Twitter Space?
YouTube, but there is a shit ton of people watching it.
Yeah.
Today's the Scott Fest, Age of Voltaire. He is talking about sips.
Sips. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the recording on that. Yep, and you guys can do that too. I mean, it's not exactly interactive. I'd rather interact here and then watch the recording later and then talk about it on Bento Day on Monday.
Listen, man, they have the the pictures of like Voltaire and Gauguin.
Mm-hmm.
They have them behind Charles, but they're semi-animated, and it's kind of fucking freaky.
So he's not in sunny Colorado?
No, they're in Scotland, man. It's Scott Fest.
Just okay. Yum. Wait,
do you not pay attention to Cardano?
I don't know what
Did you not listen here? You didn't hear the big announcement today, then?
The Emergo thing?
Yeah, the one that we talked about yesterday, the day before it happened.
Yeah, I don't even know if I don't know with the way crypto's been going right now. Honestly, the only thing I've been interested in is the tech, but because everything just seems so volatile. So I'm on the pessimistic.
That's why we need a stable coin.
Yeah, but I'm on the pessimistic side of that even like being a thing, right? With all the other shit and crashes going on.
What happened with you? Did you lose a bunch of money in FTX? Is that what you really are, Lido? This is what's happening. Because no one else in Cardano is like, yeah, I'm down. Oh, man.
I'm not down. I'm just not moved by the announcement.
I think I'm with Lido, I have to say. I don't want to sound pessimistic. I just feel a little guarded right now.
Right?
Because these stable coins just bring a lot of hype and a lot of degeneracy, and it's like this just happened, and and I feel like they're all coming at the same time, right? So it's a little scary.
And we don't even know the full details, right, of the implement. We don't know implementation details.
I'm not trying to bring hype to anything. I'm just trying to say that it's important for us to have a stable coin on Cardano. I don't give a fuck who brings it or what it does.
Well,
I don't.
You should
I'm not saying that you bring hype. I'm saying what it brings.
Let me just address that, Hero. You should give a fuck who brings it because it can depeg, right?
Well, yeah, I do agree with that, Lido. You're absolutely right. But you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, it is somewhat exciting.
You don't understand how much ADA I would have liked to cash out at $2, but I refused to let the money leave the ecosystem.
Right.
I'm sorry, but we need a stable coin.
This is a big thing, and I'd much rather have Emergo doing it than some random.
Wow, are you throwing shade at Matthew?
No, not Matthew.
Where is he?
No. Matthew's been building a reputation, getting, dotting his I's, crossing his T's when it comes to regulation. I'm talking about the one that just sort of popped up out of nowhere, and there's no, reserve verification. There's no anything.
That was so surprising.
They'll be on the show next week, TCT. You can ask them all about it.
Well, that's the thing. We shouldn't have to ask, right? We should be able to see these things and verify for ourselves. And
that's what you should be asking them.
Mm-hmm. And I think with Emergo doing this, I think they, will dot their I's and cross their T's. At least, I'm hopeful of it. They have a lot of, they have a reputation to protect. They have a lot of money and funding behind them, and they have the connections to like the necessary regulators and stuff that they would need to actually do this.
It's just funny that, and the reason I find it funny is people bitch that Emergo doesn't do anything, but now people will bitch about it being a regulated stablecoin. But if you want to operate in the United States, you're going to need a regulated stablecoin. It's just as simple as that. And you need competition in it, right, too. So you got Mihan. They're building a regulated stablecoin. Now you have, I don't even know how to pronounce the name of this one.
Wasn't it just USDA?
Yeah, USDA. I was trying to figure out what the A stood for, and I think TCT.
What does the A stand for?
I can't pronounce it.
What are y'all looking at?
The big, massive announcement. Coinzar.
That was not the big massive announcement. That was an announcement by Emergo.
Right.
That was huge for Emergo. This is gonna change everything. This is gonna make ADA go back to $5. This is so bullish.
What do you mean back?
Will you kick him off the show?
He really.
This day one of Voltaire, day zero of Lido.
And it stands for Zens, by the way.
I couldn't hear because you had Epoch and TCT talking over top of each other.
Same here.
And Zen. And Zen.
And Zen. What is and Zen? Sounds like a magic word. And Zen.
Just use USDA.
Yeah.
Have they announced the regulator that is behind it in the US? Like, who is the...
I could be mistaken. I'll try to double check. I think it's out of Canada, but I'm not positive.
I hope it's not BlockFi. Oh!
Why would BlockFi be a...
Lido, what are you doing this morning?
What?
What time did you get to sleep?
I'm coding.
No, United States.
Last night.
Yeah. It's
Is that Cat? Is Cat in the house?
It's the United States.
This must be...
I thought it was an illusion.
Right.
Hi guys.
Is this a fake? Is this the real Cat?
It's a legit Cat.
What's going on here?
Happy Friday, Cat.
Hi, happy Friday. I just thought I'd pop by to check you're all good. I mean, it's a bit crazy out there today.
We're not good.
Life.
Yeah, I was thinking about you a lot, and yeah, I don't know. Obviously, all the stuff with FTX and all that stuff, but it just this morning it made me remember a conversation that I had with someone probably like a year and a half ago, and someone was telling me how much they preferred Solana over Cardano because FTX backed them, and I looked at that today and thought, damn, it's nothing to laugh about, of course, because of course everyone's. There's a lot of people that have been deeply impacted, but also it made me think, like the whole conversations we've been having for years about decentralization and not your keys, not your crypto is so important still. Anyway, just say that.
And by the way, we're Cardano's still doing its thing because, well, they refuse to list us, and we believe in self-custody over here. So
100%.
That's the best haha of it all. The best haha is that these motherfuckers talk shit about Cardano and then literally shit the bed for everyone. And then we don't even have to get hurt by it because they were so asinine in their practices that they didn't even create any bridge to us.
Yeah.
So you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah, I think that
all you want.
It's going to be challenging with maybe it's a good thing. There's going to be a lot more oversight with regards to like it being, proof of stake being considered securities and that kind of stuff. But I actually think oversight is, in some cases, especially for centralized chains, like, come on, if you can turn your chain off and on again, it's definitely not decentralized. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more of that. But people are going to be people, right? And they're going to take advantage of a situation. I always think about laws and rules. It's not for the average person. It's for the lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? So maybe it's a good thing. Who knows?
Turn the chain on and off again. I feel like there was another haha in there, but maybe that's just me.
I laughed on mute. Sorry.
Okay.
It is true. But yes, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of people that got a lot of exposure, and we've not really seen the start of the contagion. There's going to be a lot of contagion from this, I reckon. But still, I hope most of the people listening or you guys aren't too exposed to anything like that.
The only exposure any of that touched was Sunday Swap, and I don't really think that it's going to affect them at all. Like, Cardano doesn't have much VC funding, so we don't. Everything that has been built on Cardano has been built by the community, IOG, or so. We don't. There's almost zero exposure, right? To all
there's
that.
one VC that we should talk about, and his name is Charles.
That's what I was going to say.
The C Fund.
Yeah.
He has become the VC fund of Cardano. Let's be honest. IOG is a new VC for us.
Absolutely. But like that whole VC side of things, because a lot of things are going to come crashing down over the next 5 months because of that. So, but Cardano had about zero exposure to any of it.
Yeah, it's mainly just if, I guess, people that weren't directly linked to Cardano or like services then also lent their money out to other people that, so if not, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll be okay, but you don't know, you don't know where the contagion's going to spread and if it's going to spread to something that is connected. I've seen a lot of things there. It's 2 steps removed, but honestly, it makes me so grateful for how community driven everything is here. I've just been thinking about it a lot. I've been meaning to jump on all this week. But anyway, I'm glad I see you guys.
How are you? Let's talk about you. How's the married life?
I'm married. It's going great. I'm still happy as ever. We're looking at buying a house, doing all the grown-up stuff. Oh my God. But yeah, things
you're
go.
Getting old.
I know. I'm kind of living for it as well. I think it's awesome. But yeah, things are going really good for me, and it's been, the internet's been an interesting place the last 24 hours, not just in crypto land, but in Twitter land in general. It's been interesting. But you know what it's like. But yeah, other than that, I myself am doing really good. We built a huge observatory with this. We got a little garage remote, and the whole roof comes off, and we've got 12 telescopes. And I had started doing astrophotography, and I've had my images picked up by some of the biggest newspapers across the world. So I'm doing great myself outside of all this.
I'm glad you didn't forget us little guys down here.
I think
and
about
now
you
you can
all
go
the
outside
time.
and look at all the quasars out there as well. We are the little guys in the stars.
And I've been seeing those mats that you're making. Those are so cool. When are they coming out?
I'm going to be releasing them in about a week, I think. Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
That why you fucking came on the show?
No, I did not plan.
Cat.
I was not going to talk about that at all.
Tell me you care about us and you miss us and you show up to shill a drop next week.
No!
Get the fuck out of here. What do you think I am?
No,
or you're donating something, please.
I'll donate one to all the hosts. How about that?
You don't have to donate one to me. But how's your brother? I see he's still working hard on Cardano. Shout out to Charles.
His stuff's going to next level. The stuff that so obviously they've made, he does on-chain generative art. It's beautiful, in my opinion. I'm biased, of course. So
I'm also biased too.
But it is beautiful. It's really next level, and that's all on chain. Because again, and this is a message I've been saying a long time, which is the problem with storing stuff off chain and just having a link to it is that, if that server goes down, where's your NFT and all that jazz? I understand that. But they have made they didn't just, the reason why it took them so long to get to market is because they didn't just make the NFT project, but they were actually making the platform behind it so that other generative artists could use it. And the coolest thing is that they made like an editor so that people could come in and make their own projects, but people can now do pixel art as an on-chain thing, like 100% on-chain, and it's, you know, manageable for people to actually take part of. And on top of that, they've been able to program kind of like full games on chain, not spread over multiple NFTs, but just like in one, like the optimization.
What chain? Is this Cardano?
Cardano, yeah.
You mind dropping the name? You mind shilling this project?
I want to check it out because when I was doing the on-chain stuff, I had a really hard time balancing the preview image and the asset itself.
Right.
And getting them both to be within the limits. So,
right.
And it's annoying because you change one and then the other one's fucked, and then you change that one and the other one's fucked. Like, it's massively annoying. So I don't know. I'd love to see the solution.
Yeah, like I don't know much more than that. I heard him talk about it briefly. He's moving house at the moment, so it's all, you know. But from what I've gathered,
touch Epoch. It's her brother.
I'll get him on the show.
Yeah,
they've got.
Yeah, I should absolutely, because they've got people now working, not just them as their project, because they've made this kind of like platform for Cardano, for on-chain Cardano. And there's some brilliant minds. People are thinking about it in ways that my brother was like, damn, I didn't even thought of the possibility of this. But there's like these little platform games, all like, and they are so good at coding efficiently, all stored in one NFT on Cardano, 16 kilobits of pure joy. And I'm like, damn, I don't even know. Like, they come back, they're all from like the original era of programming, you know, when they used to do those like really tiny demos and they were like, you fly through and they're like 3D and stuff. I'm not saying that they're going to get that kind of thing or that kind of level, but that was like where they came from as coders, you know, back in the day when you didn't have like gigabytes and gigabytes of space. You only had a few, you know, like you had one floppy disk. It was not very big. So it's just, you remember that? I love that.
Oh, we had to insert another diskette. How they call it.
Oh, pushing the boundaries of memory. But yeah, there's a lot of people that come from that era that have all this ability to program and code really hyper efficiently in a way that you're like, wow, it's actually
we need to get
elegant.
Charles here. Where's Charles?
We need all the Charleses in the house.
The other Charles is live in Scotland right now on my YouTube, on my screen. So I don't think he's going to make it here.
Damn it. Well, but he's awake. He could.
You never know.
Wait, Charles is in Scotland? Okay, I'm kidding. Don't answer that.
Yeah.
What's going on
to see you, Kat.
What's going wrong with Lido today? Some type of wiring is wrong in Lido Nation. There's been a crosswire.
You said Epoch. That was good. What's going on with Epoch? And why is Gold Rush hand up?
Well, I saw a little something today about Emergo releasing a stable coin. What are your thoughts on that? I don't mean to change the topic, but
we were talking about it a little bit earlier.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's a good thing. More stable coins, the better off we are in the long run. Competition's a healthy thing, right? We're going to have multiple regulated stable coins. You're going to have Nihon, which is a regulated stable coin. Now we're going to have USDA. You're going to have algorithmic stable coins with DJED very soon. So things are on the up and up on the stable coin front by the looks of things.
By the way, Matthew, before you got here, I think someone said, we're glad Emergo is doing stable coins instead of some random person.
And that person who said that would have been Epoch. So
wow, man, is Matt just some random person? Wow, man.
That's what I said.
Oh my God, Lighter, you're trying to start like you are sassy today.
It's too early for that kind of drama, man.
Now, to be fair, I want to defend my round table husband. He did say that Matt is not a random person.
This is also true.
Are we talking about my Matt?
I think I think we're talking about this stablecoin that got announced 2 days ago out of nowhere. They're coming on the show, right?
Well, I don't think it was 2 days ago. I think they've been around for actually quite a while. Well, not quite a while, but
Okay.
I heard about them weeks ago. I just never really looked into it because I heard things like they're not open source. Not open source stablecoin scares me. So.
Let's be honest though, we're all just thrilled that Emergo was actually doing something this whole time.
And let's hope that the stablecoin performs better than Yoroi. I mean, what?
Now, I'm going to defend Yoroi again, second time today, and this is very odd of me. However, if you're an OG and have been around, you know that Yoroi helped create Cardano. Without Yoroi, we would not be here. With that being said, the two developers who created Yoroi left Emergo, leaving a huge gap for them to continue developing Yoroi.
With that being said, I would say to put the balance on the other side of the shit talking, it hasn't been this whole time, Epoch. They sprung this up in 6 months, maybe less than that.
Right around there. Remember, there was a whole reorg just a little while ago.
Yep.
Well, if you were part of the Singapore thing a few months ago, they talked about stablecoins. So this has been in the works for a while. It's not something that just popped up.
Yeah, and I actually think there's some merit to working on a problem and feeling more confident than starting to talk about it super early when you've not really got anything to say or anything to show or any proof that you can do anything. I know that you want to see some project history and stuff, but I think there's a lot to say for people there's a lot of people that say stuff and then it never turns out. I think it's quite good for people to think, I'm going to make this thing. All right, let me spend 6 months on it first before I open my big mouth. So I know.
Hey, Kat. Good morning.
Good morning, BlockJock.
Oh, she's excited to see him. We didn't get that kind of.
Oh, you did. You did. Don't lie.
I see her on Spaces all the time.
I don't think it was as
all her stuff. And she's an amazing artist for anybody that doesn't know down there that's listening now and feels like they're just meeting her for the first time.
Welcome to the show, BlockJock. You're 15 minutes late.
And just so you know,
and I think Quasar's had his hand up.
Yeah, come on, Quasar.
Before Quasar goes, because Quasar's always.
Now I'm going to have to start finding people for saying the word late, I think.
Remember when Emergo was on, Vanith came on.
Could we let Quasar talk, please?
No, we cannot let Quasar talk. We've always got.
Quasar, please go ahead, sir.
Has everyone already read CIP 1694, and we're all good with that?
You're gonna have to refresh me.
Yeah, Quasar, I read that one last week, and I have some opinions on it. However, I don't think that we're quite ready. I'm not quite ready to voice those opinions.
1694.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Voltaire is here.
Yeah, sorry.
Day one of Voltaire.
Working. Yeah, I think it's great. It's just the draft, but it lays out pretty much everything we've already been talking about for almost a year now.
Is this something they just announced at Scotfest TCT?
I don't know if it was. Yeah, I think so. I saw it when I woke up this morning. It was just a new SIP. It's 19 something, whatever year Voltaire was born. 64.
God damn it, 1694. Not 19, 1694.
Oh, all right. Old dude.
Jeez.
Do you not know who Voltaire is? Does anyone not know who Voltaire is as a person?
Was that old?
I'm going to be that person. I don't know.
Fuck me.
And by the way, that's not even his real name, Voltaire. It's his pen name.
Oh, yes. He was exiled. It's his pen name. It's quite common, for
please
artists.
Educate us.
I got a phone call.
People with the 5 phases.
I got to go. We got 5 minutes to our first guest, so Quasar. Fill us in on who Voltaire is, please.
Okay, so Voltaire was born into an aristocratic family in French society in the late 17th century. That's why it's 1694, 17th century. He thought England and the UK were superior in thinking. He was a big fan of Thomas Newton. So he kind of shunned his country, shunned the aristocratic lifestyle, went against his father's wishes, and became later, after dying, one of the largest influential philosophical writers, thinkers, of our civilization, one could argue.
Thank you.
And what did he write?
The most famous one is Candide, and it's a short story. It's a read in a day. It's a beautiful little book.
And what's the premise, roughly?
Fuck the rules, fuck the government, and screw the bad things that's going to happen to you. Keep being true, authentic, and keep your attitude and spirit high, and prevail.
Oh, I get you.
Where is 1694 posted?
Okay, so we have something in Cardano called CIPs. They're managed by the Cardano Foundation.
No. On which website is it? Because it's not on the main site and it's not in the GitHub repo.
I just put it at the top of here, so It's pinned there.
So it's in a random. Okay, so this is whose repo is this? Okay.
So how does this relate to Cardano? So I understand.
It changes Project Catalyst to a degree.
Okay, how does it change it?
The introduction of the DREPs and really this tricameral body, which is made up of SPOs, DREPs, and the technical steering committee.
And what is that exactly? Because I don't know any of those terms.
It's the human factor, off-chain governance for the on-chain governance is the best way to put it. It's the groups of individuals or people in the network that will be guiding the Cardano constitution.
Okay, so it's like a governing body outside off-chain.
Yeah, it's a tricameral.
So this text was posted, which supports specific people coming in to help govern things.
Well, sort
of. Explain it like I'm an idiot, because I am.
It's brand new to us. We don't understand democracy or governance, so this is all new as well.
Well, we understand the direction we're trying to go, right? So right now, changes, spending, upgrades, like things like spending from the treasury when we do Project Catalyst, things like implementing new CIPs, for example, stuff like that, are basically controlled by 5 out of 7 keys, I believe.
By the way, what's a CIP?
Cardano Improvement Proposal. So like anytime like funds move out of the main Cardano treasury, anytime like new upgrades or code gets implemented to the Cardano blockchain, that technically can be done with just a few entities, right? Using their keys, that gives them authority to do that. So what this does is try to bring more on-chain rules to like how that happens. So now there's, and it's really complicated. So like, you can't just say like, oh, anybody can just push new upgrades or spending or code. So it gives us like ways to sort of like have direct democracy or delegated democracy. So now we have this idea of DREPs, where just like you can be a stake pool operator and people can delegate to you, which in turn gives you the authority to like mint blocks. And if you get more delegation, mint more blocks, people can also delegate to you to be a DREP now, just like a stake pool, which gives you more voting power. So it's a way for like more,
Okay, let me take 30 seconds, Hero, and then we do have our guest. So
Did you
right now,
basically it's a way to make it so it's more on chain, right? More encoded rules to the way that things get upgraded instead of just like people with keys.
right. So right
By
now
the way,
we
hold
don't
on 1 second, Lido. Charles just wrote the word midnight on his whiteboard on my channel.
the tease is super strong. Right now we don't have decentralized governance in Cardano. Is everything any decision making is pretty much centralized. This new SIPs introduce different decentralized roles and how you can apply or get yourself into those roles. So that's one thing. And then the other big thing it introduces is different decentralized actions that, depending on what role you have, you can initiate. So as an ADA holder, that's a role. DREP is a role. There's 3 other roles that's in here. And then there are 6 different
I know what midnight
actions.
is.
Hmm?
I know what midnight is.
There are 6 different actions
Okay, what is
you
it?
can trigger on the chain. And all of these instructions, how to fill a role, what actions you can do, and this is all happening in a decentralized way, on chain, just between you and your wallet, is what this SIP is talking about. So go read it if you want to know what those different roles are, and then go read it what the different things you can now do when it comes to governing, the 6 different things that's being proposed in here, on these new rules.
And Lido, thanks for wrapping that up. I do appreciate it. We do have a guest, and Quasar, I see your hand up, but we're going to move on to our guests. We have free time at the end after our 2 guests to talk about whatever you want. However, Midnight is a privacy coin that is coming to Cardano. So there you have it. Anyhow.
Short explanation of
So
privacy coin?
much.
Short explanation is it's a privacy coin. Midnight equals privacy coin.
Equals
That was
Monero.
super helpful.
Yeah, we're
Who's
getting
our
real
first
Monero,
guest?
huh?
So just look up Monero. Okay, got it.
Who's our guest?
So our guest is somebody who I got to meet at Rare Bloom, and we got to chit chat, and they're bringing some real world utility to their NFTs. An interesting concept, but I'll let them introduce themselves and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me. Name's CJ. Yeah, it's good to see you guys and be here today.
CJ, how you been, man? You didn't
Good.
get Rare Bloom, did you? Like some of us.
No, but I got 2 little girls at home. They're actually both coming home right now from school because they've been sick. So I don't know. I think it's just going around.
So why don't you tell everybody who wasn't at Rare Bloom and got the conversation, tell everybody who you are, how you got to crypto, and then what is Whiskey NFT?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So again, name's CJ. I've been a Cardano hodler since oh man, I think I bought my first one in like January of 18. So I thought I was really smart, right? Dollar cost average down, and all of a sudden we're at 3 cents, and I'm like, damn, I screwed up. Anyways, I held on, did well and everything. So, but through that bear market the last time, kind of got more into it, read a lot more about it, and just kind of loved the vision and just kind of ethos of the project. So, have been on board ever since. So, I don't come from a crypto background. I do consulting for medical device companies. So that's kind of my background. But I had this idea. I really like whiskey. And I kind of credit that to my father-in-law. He is a huge Scotch advocate, and he's
I love Scotch.
Yeah,
nice.
Me too.
Oh my god, I am such a huge Scotch fan. I am like fully about Islay Scotch or Islay, however you pronounce it. Oh my god. Anyway,
Islay,
sorry.
Yeah. No, you're getting the smoky stuff. Yeah. I
Yeah.
came around to it. It took me a little bit, but
liquid campfire. It's the best.
Yeah, that peat really gives it that flavor. So, but yeah. So anyway, so he got me into it, and then I've always wanted to get back to some of the the great things that are happening on Cardano, and kind of had this idea, that, NFTs are so cool. And I feel like there's so much utility that could be used. And a lot of projects are doing really good things. And so there is some, good utility that people are thinking of. But I thought whiskey was a great way to do it because, as people may not know that, the rarer the whiskey or the older the whiskey, the more valuable it is, the smoother the flavor, stuff like that, right? Which is why you see, people talking about 30-year, 40-year, like these crazy ones that are, thousands of dollars, maybe potentially per bottle, to buy. So, anyways, I had an idea, right? Why don't we take Cardano NFTs, right? Have an NFT that represents partial ownership in whiskey casks. So, I kind of done a lot of research on it, been thinking about the project for a long time. We really got going probably, I would say, in July of this year. I really wanted to find a great artist to partner with. So I did. His name's Tim, and he worked on the Aqua Farmers for Liquid. So I think I met him in like the JPEG store Discord channel, and then we got talking. So I'm in the US in Florida. He's in the Netherlands. So we're kind of like a 50-50 partnership between him and I. So he came up with great art. There's some on our website if you guys go there, WhiskeysNFTs.com. But essentially our theme is, we want people to see themselves in our NFTs. So we're more like a realistic vibe. And then we have a bunch of different cities. I think we're going to have 36 cities within the NFTs. So it'll kind of, we hope people can see themselves drinking like a nice whiskey within our NFTs. We're also doing a little bit of a redesign where essentially it'll be kind of like the NFT will kind of be like a whiskey label. So there'll be a lot of other elements, kind of like that whiskey focus in there. So I guess how it works essentially is when you mint the NFT, your NFT represents 50% unique digital art and then 50% partial ownership in whiskey casks. So we'll have a bunch of different, we'll have 6 different rarity tiers at different price points. So you can kind of really choose like how much you want to own, right, in whiskey casks, or how many NFTs, you want to own essentially. So that's kind of our general idea, but maybe I'll kind of open the floor, if you guys have questions, or I can explain more too.
Can you explain what whiskey casks are a little bit more in depth, maybe, and how would why would owning one be a benefit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good question. So whiskey casks. So I guess I should first say we are focusing on acquiring Scottish whiskey. That's with a Y, and then Irish whiskey, which is usually EY, which I think is kind of funny, but. Anyways, they are usually stored within either bourbon or ex-oak barrels from bourbon or Tennessee whiskey, usually from the U.S., but then they can also be stored in sherry casks. I think there's some other casks they can store in, but those are kind of the 2 big ones that are used for either Irish or Scotch whiskey. Essentially, the way it would work is we would be getting the casks at age 0. So when a distillery fills the casks, they have to age for a minimum of 3 years per Irish and Scottish law to be considered either Irish or Scotch whiskey. So essentially, we'd be purchasing from the distillery and then having the casks sit. So it kind of helps the distillery in a couple ways, right? They need to raise capital. So it's one way for them to sell their barrels early on. And then they can, pay their staff or pay for more for production. And I'm sure some of them, or a lot of them, keep their own amount of casks as well, But then essentially, you would hold it within a bonded and insured warehouse, either in Scotland. So if it's Scotch, it needs to be aged for 3 years within Scotland. If it's Irish whiskey, it has to be aged for 3 years within Ireland. And they accrue value as they age, right? So essentially, I think the returns they're around like 10 to, or I would say it's between like 10 to 20% per year. So essentially, they kind of have that, that real value that accrues as time goes on. So that's kind of, I think, where there's a lot of opportunity. If you were to try to do this on your own, they cost upwards of, I think it's about like 4,000 or maybe 5,000 a cask, and then you usually have to buy a minimum from these distilleries. So I think, having this partial ownership is a way for people to kind of get into that sort of investment vehicle without really having to, drain, whatever that would be, like 25,000 minimum, essentially, right, to get into that.
So you said a couple words that made me want to talk about. You said investment vehicle, returns. How regulated is this kind of buying a whiskey cask, and what kind of regulation do you think you'll face, being that you're selling partial ownership?
Yeah, so we partnered with a law firm that the Goofy Gophers Mining Club used as well, because I don't know if you guys know about them. They're doing like purchasing miners for, like, I think it's Dogecoin, Litecoin, and some other stuff too. And then that they kind of have that, rewards distributed back to holders. So we're kind of using that same model. I think NFT regulation is so unclear, right? It's not. I wouldn't say there's a good framework established right now, like there is on certain tokens, to kind of put people or put projects into certain buckets. I also think it's interesting. There's been a couple lawsuits that were actually overturned from the SEC about whiskey cask investment, and how it's not looked at in the same way as some like owning stocks or something like that. So
yeah, that's kind of what I
there's
want
a lot of
to know about more, because that's where I think the regulation would come. Not so much from the crypto side, right? But what's that regulation?
Yeah, because it's classed as a security.
Yeah.
I would say no. From everything that I've kind of researched and read, and just kind of looked at, and again talking with the law team. So, I would say that in general, it's not. It's really more the commodity, right? That or like I don't know, like if you went to buy a piece of art or something, right? Like something that you own that isn't looked at in the same way.
This will kind of give me the answer that I want, right? I, as a person, can go right now and invest in a whiskey cask with no regulation, right?
Yeah.
And those companies that would sell me that, they're not really regulated, are they? I mean, obviously the alcohol is, and how they do it.
Correct.
But
yeah, that's the regulation piece, right? So it has to be, the casks have to age in bonded and insured warehouses. So that's probably the biggest piece, right? To be considered officially Scotch or Irish whiskey. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I can do that right now, as like I can pick up a phone and call somebody and buy this, I wouldn't be afraid to buy partial ownership through an NFT.
Right.
My concern would be,
it's the fractionalization process, though, that is also legally controlled. So there's things where you can be a whole investor, but when you're fractionalizing it, there can be an issue. Sometimes, not all the times. And it also depends where your company is incorporated. Is it in the US or outside of the US?
No, yeah, it'll be outside the US. Yep.
There's another answer, right? So little pieces to put it together. But tell me, I was looking at the website, and I like the art. It's kind of unique. And you mentioned the artist. When do you think this is going to, how much of an ownership do I get if I buy an NFT? And do you know what the cost of the NFT is going to be?
Yeah, so we're going to have different tiers. I have some of that in our light paper as well. So yeah, so the price point is, we really want to have a large, representation of all different types of people that are looking to kind of get involved. So we'll have six different tiers, essentially, which are different price points. I think our lowest is like $50, and our highest right now is I think it's around like $1,500. But I think the cool thing to keep in mind is you can do whatever you want, right? Like how much you want to invest, or how much you want to buy from an NFT standpoint really depends on you. And basically 50% of the mint price gets funded to the NFTs, or to the whiskey casks, from the NFT sale. So if you spend 50, 25 of that would go to the casks. So
at what point are the casks sold, or are they ever sold? How does that work?
Great question. Yeah, so we would that's a huge strategy that we have to go into too when we purchase them. So We would be looking to do sale points at 3, 5, and 10 years. For different reasons. I mean, if you distilleries don't like to flood the market with all with a ton of casks that they bottled at a certain time, essentially, or that they put into the cask at a certain time. So essentially it would be that 3, 5, 10 year time point, and we would get whiskeys that kind of match that time point. So interestingly enough, Irish whiskey actually used to be the most recognized in the world prior to the world wars that happened. So essentially they with the bootleggers from the US and the Prohibition, they kind of started cutting it. And then Irish whiskey went downhill from there, and there was actually few distilleries that survived. I think like Jameson obviously is a big one, like Bushmills and a couple other ones. But they're kind of have a resurgence now. So I think Irish whiskey is a lot smoother than Scotch, right? It doesn't have that smoky flavor just because they don't do that peated process in the same way. So essentially, the Irish whiskey would be something that we'd focus on for the 3 year time points, and then for the 5 and the 10. We'd be looking to probably get maybe more Scotch holdings on some of those. But it's interesting. A lot of the buyers of the casks are a lot of times just other bottlers, essentially. So like if you think of like Johnny Walker, right? They don't necessarily have their own distilleries. They actually just source them, and then they can say an age statement because the cask that is aged the least is what they have to put on the age. So they do a lot of blending, based on that too. So. Yeah, good question though about the different casks and the time points.
So what happens once a cask is sold? Does that is that when the returns are realized, or how does that work?
Yeah. Essentially, we would So when the cask is sold, we would turn that back into ADA or potentially a stable coin, like you guys were kind of talking about earlier, and then that would be redistributed back to the NFT owners at the time. So, and your NFT will represent a percentage of all the casks that were purchased, right? You don't just own ownership in one cask, right? You own everything from the entire sale, a certain percentage of that.
Is there going to be, I would assume that there's going to be an intermediary company in between, which would be you, right? What happens if you die in that 3 year time frame?
Yeah. There is an intermediary company, right? That comes in, and then there's a couple other people that we have within the business as well that would kind of come in and do that. And I think we'll have some things in place with the law firm that we're partnered with as well to make sure that, like you said, God forbid if something happens to me or anyone else on the team, that
I don't wish that. Okay. Sorry,
No, but it's a good point. Succession planning on a project where someone wants to be involved for 15 years is going to have some good succession planning and good legal basis to keep it going. But in some ways, it's nice that you are made to think about that long-term process.
Yeah. And I'll say, we want to be in it for the long haul, right? We want our project to be, successful over this time, and I mean I think it's just just kind of a unique opportunity with things like casks, right, that do appreciate with age.
Yeah, it's something different. Now I have an important and very, very important question. Do you age your coffee? If so, how long? What kind of coffee do you drink? And do you put whiskey in your coffee?
Whiskey in the coffee sometimes. I find myself doing that less and less as the older I get. But to coffee, I love coffee. I actually, when I lived in Michigan for a little time too, and my father-in-law and I, the same person who got me into the whiskey stuff, we actually started a roaster business. So we actually were roasting coffee ourselves. I would say it was very we called it artisanal, right? We didn't use like a laser roaster or whatever the heating roasters they have now. It was more of just with a cast iron pan, and sold it at farmers markets. So I love good coffee, fresh roasted coffee. So I'm not the biggest fan, I would say, of aging coffee necessarily. But,
I was going to say a big tip for anyone that is on a Zoom meeting. You can put whiskey into a coffee cup as long as you blow over the top of it so everyone thinks you're drinking coffee.
Okay.
That's a good hack.
Life hack. Nice. I'm kind of out of questions. Lido, BlockJock, anybody? Epoch?
So what are you guys' core competency? So we've got a designer, we've got a developer. What else?
Yeah, I mean, right now those are the main two we have. So just a little bit, yeah. So Tim, the designer, right? He did Aqua Farmers, and then our developer Sandro, he actually works at NMKR, so he works with NFT Maker. They both together kind of helped, with the Aqua Farmer drop. So I'm super
What
happy.
about on the I think we get the designer and developer side. What about on the real world side, the whiskey, starting a business, those kinds of things, working with distillers and those.
Yeah, so that's where I kind of come in, right, and then kind of focused on that piece of it. I think we are partnered with a kind of, I would say, like a whiskey company that'll help to select the casks or kind of see what's available, but the decision will also ultimately be down to us to choose and source, the best casks at the time available.
So is this what you were doing professionally before this project?
No, I think I mentioned in the beginning. Yeah, I was in more like the consulting side of things. So program management consulting is kind of my background.
So what's the role of the whiskey? You just mentioned a whiskey company. Are you consulting with them? Are they doing the heavy lifting of the real world stuff, or?
Yeah, that we consult with them, and then they help to partner with the storage. So they, help to find the different storage locations, and again, they're bonded and insured warehouses that, if anything happened, obviously they'd be, paid out essentially from those. So yeah, so they're kind of they kind of help us from that standpoint, from the whiskey side, but they don't have any ownership in the project, or, essentially. We just pay them to help us.
So I always like to ask this question: what could go wrong, and what kind of contingencies have you planned for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys kind of touched on the one, right? The succession planning is something we're keeping an eye on. I think from another, standpoint, I always just worried about making sure the mint goes okay, right? There's so many horror stories of bad mints, so just trying to do everything we can. To make sure that's all wrapped up. I mean, other than that, God forbid the warehouse blows up, right? That's the only other thing. But the nice thing is it's not all at one location. It'll be sourced at a bunch of different ones. So,
but it is. I mean, I guess that's when it's bonded and insured, you would get an insurance payout anyway. Would that be right?
That's correct. Yeah, and I think they pay it based on the age of the whiskey casks as well. So that's good, right? If anything happens, you still get a appreciation on the casks as well.
I see. So are there like ongoing fees that are involved in, or is it a case of that when the cask is eventually sold, that a percentage of the value then goes to cover the bondage and insurance, or like how does that work?
You actually, good question. You actually pay that up front. So you pay that ahead of time. Which is nice, and it applies for the entire time you want to essentially own the casks. So I think one thing maybe I didn't mention too is that our team will have 0% ownership in the casks. Essentially, we'll just be executors of whatever the NFT holders wish to decide. So my vision is to have kind of like a DAO style, and we're going to have a voting mechanism as well. So at those 3, 5, and 10-year time points, we're going to try to essentially have a vote set up where, as the NFT holder, you can decide if you want to bottle, potentially, like that's an option. If you want to sell the casks, right, just for, ADA or that stable coin to be redistributed to the NFT holders, or you can keep, right? If people are like, if there's a lot of people that want to continue to keep it and hold it for an extended period, I think right now we have it set up where it'd be a year, so it'd be one additional year. And then at that time point, there'd be another vote on that group of casks. So I think I answered your question, but anything else?
I think I got Gold Rush's hand up down there.
I'd just like to say thank you, Kat. Those are great questions. And also, I was curious, when it goes to market, like when we decide we want to sell the cask, do they grade those, right? So each individual cask could have like a different value. Is that correct?
100%. There's a lot of variability within the casks, right? I think that's why it's important for us, for the group that we're partnered with, right, to essentially select the rarest and best that we can at the time after the mint. So, but yes, there is variability within the cask. So that's why, I can say averages and stuff like that, but you really don't know. There might be some that may be not, maybe as valuable, but then there might be some that are like crazy valuable, right? It's kind of interesting, like there's a lot of distilleries that go bust, right? And when they go bust, that doesn't mean the whiskey goes bad, right? It actually might mean it increases in rarity because there wouldn't be as many or, continued supply of that distillery. So, and kind of go both ways, but yeah, you're correct that there will be some variability, at those time points, essentially, depending on the distillery.
So that leads to my second question. For the first run of these NFTs, how many casks are you planning to buy? So basically, I'm trying to figure out how we're spreading the risk out of the, like how many, basically how many casks are yeah. So. And how many NFTs are you issuing, and then how many casks are you planning to buy? I guess is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, sure. So the NFTs we're planning to have 10,000 NFTs, and then going back to how many to buy, I think that really depends, right? How the mint goes and how much interest we have or how many buyers we have. So we're not purchasing the casks until after the mint, essentially. So. I obviously hope for a sellout, but it kind of depends on the market and what people think. So, I think if we did sell out, I think we were in the range of, oh man, I want to say it was like 250 to 300 casks, something like that. Largely it'll depend on the distillers and what they're charging per cask as well. So. But we'll release a couple, Medium articles and stuff like that after the mint to be clear, which casks we have and what we own. I guess maybe one thing to mention too is we will have a wallet set up where we're going to make NFTs per cask, so it'll be super transparent to know which casks, what distillery they're from, right, what age they are, essentially, like all those different things. Within an ADA handle, essentially, right? So you can check it on Pool PM and you could take a look and see which casks we own. And then as they get sold, right, we burn those NFTs and then you can kind of see what's left or what's still there. So
I want to know how much Lefroy you're going to be buying.
That's a good question. Some distilleries, they actually hold on to their own. So I was in Dublin a couple weeks ago, and I did the Jameson tour, which was super cool. If you guys go there, it was fun to do. But anyways, they actually don't sell their casks to the general public. I guess that's not true. They do sell them, but it's really just like more for like I don't know, enthusiasts, I guess, to buy. So they only sell them at 5-year age. And they charge 80 grand per cask, which is absolute insanity, like absolutely crazy that they can charge that price or demand that price.
I mean, it is good though.
That's for Jameson, right? So like for Lefroy, I don't know if that's something I probably will look into too and see. Is I'm not sure if they sell their casks or if they try to age most of them themselves. There's a few that have been purchased up now. A lot of these distilleries are getting purchased up by some of the big alcohol conglomerates. Like I think Heineken bought, I forget who it was. I'd have to look it up again. One of the bigger ones. So essentially, I think that increases prices too, right, on some of the casks where, like if they go to a big conglomerate, they're no longer in the market, right? They're basically just take those and then they investors can't essentially own those casks. It has to be done by that company or that entity. So, it's kind of trending that way. I mean, I think you could see that with like small businesses, right? Like that happened a lot where they were getting bought up by big corporations. So I think it's kind of the same thing with the distilleries. So hopefully Lefroy, that'd be great if we can get some. I'll let you know.
Epoch, you have the last question because we have to go to our next guest and talk about the Cardano Summit NFTs this weekend. So please, Epoch.
Cool. I'm just curious, about how you set up the business? Like, did you all like incorporate? Did you a corporation of some kind? Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, we did a corporation. We're based out of Cyprus, so we're in the EU, and that's kind of where we chose to incorporate. And I think we worked with a firm that has done a bunch of different NFT projects that have some like reward element to it. So we did a lot of research and looking into kind of the best, formation and what would work for us. So that's kind of how we arrived at our current structure, essentially.
Cool. Thanks.
Where can people go? And because I know that's always going to be a concern with a lot of people, right? When you're investing, regulation sometimes, and just knowing that you have a legal team. Where could I go find out more information about your white paper? Where can I find all that?
Yeah, sure. So our website right now is the best. So that's Whiskees, and that's spelled WHISKEES NFTs.com. We have a light paper as well. We have a Discord, and we are working with the law firm to kind of get a letter that kind of says that we're not considered a security. So again, I know that's a lot of people's concerns. So we'll have that posted on Discord, and I think we'll try to put it on our website as well. Just to, kind of ease people's minds on that as well. So,
yeah. Anything you want to finish up with before I move on to our next guest?
I would just say we're looking to mint in January. Our art is pretty much done, so we'll have a lot more sneak peeks. I'm trying to, with our Twitter too, I'm trying to educate people on whiskey. So follow us, and you'll get little tidbits each day about whiskey and the different types and some differences. So I really appreciate you guys having me on. I did try the coffee, by the way. It was great. So I was drinking it the other day. Yeah, again, thanks for
and that's coming from a coffee snob, I think is what he said to me.
So. Yes, that's true. That's correct.
Is that another quote, Jenny? The coffee is good, quoted by random coffee snob. I guess not. Anyhow,
yeah, I was having, my phone was like flickering. It's still flickering. Sorry, I'm writing it down.
No, don't write that down, please.
Phenomenal. Better work.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your time. And with that being said, I want to tell people to make sure that you go over to Celsius and see if you can get my $1,800 of Bitcoin off of there.
Mine too, please, while you're at it.
Hey, just so you know, I got an inside man, and they...
So anyhow, like I was saying, if you could go and try to get my funds off of Celsius, that would be great. But since you're there and you're thinking about taking funds off an exchange, you should do that, because not your keys, not your crypto, right? We've been preaching that for a year and 4 months, I think, right? Epoch, something like that. But it's true, right? And you can see that with SPF. So take your funds off an exchange. You want to participate in this NFT drop for whiskey casks. Don't buy the caskets. They're not as fun. Stake to Lido Nation. Lido has this wonderful educational material that he puts together out there. Since you took your funds off the exchange, he needs some stake. So check out Lido Nation. There's also Epoch Pool. He builds a lot of shit. And then there's me. I do stuff. I'm Hero Pool. I do stuff once in a while. Not very often. Sometimes. Appreciate everybody coming to listen. We have a second guest. But before we get to our second guest, we're going to hear from Lido.
What are we hearing? Is this the minute?
If you're ready.
This is your Lido Minute on Cardano Over Coffee. This week in Catalyst. Catalyst, blah, 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 as Epoch said, is still on pause in retrospect. So keep an eye out for...
I don't know if someone's speaking right now and I can't hear them, Riley. But I just kind of wanted to say I'm really excited
Riley,
about...
Hold on, Lido's talking.
Riley. Hold on, Riley.
Lido, he's really excited, he said. So just for whatever you're saying, he's really excited.
Catalyst is still on pause, but two exciting things that's happening in Catalyst. Go to the forum.cardano.org, look up Catalyst Circle. follow the conversation there. And then also I retweeted this recently. I'll pin it to the top again. The first meeting for people who said they were interested in helping with auditing and those kinds of stuff. That first meeting is coming up by Daniel Rebar. So if you're interested in that, hit him in the DM. Yeah, and then of course check out the new SIP. That's going to be super, super big for governance, and it will probably affect Catalyst a lot. So go read that 1694 and get familiar with it. My name is Darlington. Yes?
Go ahead.
Your favorite code dreamer at LidoNation.com, where we provide hype-free blockchain education in plain English, Kiswahili, and Espanol. And the Lido Minute is now at a podcast near you. So Spotify, what's the other one? Stitcher. It's not on iTunes yet, but it's everywhere else. iTunes is coming. So look it up. Check that out.
Thanks, Lido. Riley, please get your word in before I go to my next guest, because I know you're super excited.
Yeah, I wish I could have heard you, Lido. I'm sorry. And I'm just really excited about Midnight. I don't know how many people were able to listen to Charles talking about Midnight just now. It's a privacy-based blockchain. It's actually going to be a sidechain that they're deploying. And I had kind of heard about Midnight and talked about it on Cardano Over Coffee a couple weeks ago. But I wasn't sure exactly what it was. And very, very exciting stuff. They've implemented a privacy-based virtual machines so that you can actually have contracts that preserve privacy and confidentiality. So very, very exciting.
Whew. News dropping everywhere. And we're going to talk about that, Riley, so stick around. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about the Cardano Summit this weekend. And there's some NFTs going down, just like last year. And this year, Turf NFT is in charge of it. And we have Turf NFT here to kind of talk about what they're doing at the Cardano Summit NFTs. I don't know who's behind the PFP, but Ralph is also here. Ralph and Turf PFP, how you guys doing?
Hey, doing well. My name is Harm. I'm the co-founder of Turf, together with Rolf, who's also on the mic here today. Great to be here.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's awesome for you guys to be here. So Cardano Summit, you guys are kind of like in charge of the NFTs. What's going on with the NFTs?
Yeah, that's right. So essentially what Turf is cartographic art, NFTs made of a giant map of the entire Earth, and then we apply our own special art style to it to create what we think are beautiful NFTs. And this year we've been selected to create the official NFTs for the Cardano Summit. Essentially, we've taken our own NFTs, applied a very different art style to it with different colors and some additional information on every NFT and some nice Cardano branding. And we're making those available for all attendees at the Cardano Summit. There are 52 different NFTs available, one for every location that the Cardano Summit is taking place. So there's the main event in Lausanne, and then you can get a NFT that depicts the Lausanne map area in the Cardano Summit colors. But there's also the virtual event, of course, and for the virtual event, there's a very special location chosen with the Cardano logo layered over it, and that special location is of course connected to Cardano as well. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, there's also 50 different NFTs for every community event where the Cardano Summit is taking place. So from Tokyo to Accra to South Buenos Aires to Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and New York, you name it, if there's a Cardano Summit community event taking place, there's an NFT you can mint as long as you actually attend the event yourself.
Okay, so I'm super excited because I'm doing virtual because of reasons, but I didn't think there was going to be a virtual NFT this year. So let's talk about that because that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so they kept it under wraps for quite some time, I think. They did one very sneak preview about a week ago. And I think they did another sort of hint earlier on this week with some additional very cool features. And then today, actually, another bombshell will drop because the previews of many locations will be tweeted by the Cardano account sometime later today.
So will they be coming from the Cardano Foundation? Is that tweeting them?
Yeah, either Cardano Foundation or Cardano Community, maybe both. I'm not sure. That depends on what the Cardano team or the Cardano Summit team has decided.
Gotcha. Just trying to find a place that people can follow in order to be able to see those. Will you guys be at any specific event, or will you be too busy?
We'll be at the main event in Lausanne ourselves. I sort of hope that everything will go smoothly and we don't need to do much from the technology side of things. But yeah, I'm fully anticipating that we'll be spending a lot of time on support and spreading the news. But I'm also very pumped to be physically at the event itself.
That's awesome. Now, bring up a little controversy because that's what I like to do. Last year, I believe Virtua was in charge of the NFTs. However, I think there was some miscommunication between the teams and yada, yada, yada. There were some hiccups with those NFTs. How's the process going to be to claim these NFTs this year?
Yeah, so last year you had to wait a very long time before you could get those NFTs, right? This time, luckily, it's all going to happen in real time during the event itself. So if you are in the virtual environment, you will be able to partake in a very short scavenger hunt, I think. And then as part of that hunt, you will be granted a special code for you yourself and a link outside of the virtual environment. And then you go to our minting environment on summits.turfnft.com. It should all be integrated, and then you can mint straight away by sending to ADA to a NMaker wallet address, and then the NFT is returned to you at immediately minus transaction costs. So it's also a free NFT, which is always very nice. If you're at a in-person event, you will receive instructions in the swag bag that will be handed to you at registration. So there will be a piece of paper in it essentially with a unique code and a QR code to get to the relevant minting page.
I heard those swag bags are pretty swaggy too. So now they're adding NFTs into the swag bags, man.
Yeah, it's getting better every day, right?
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about the process of how Turf NFT came about, how you came to Cardano, and then how you got chosen to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Ralph, you want to touch upon the history of Turf?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so as Harm already mentioned, Turf is cartographic art. And actually, so I'm from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And 10 years ago already, I made like a similar art map of Rotterdam. And back then, I was a web developer, didn't have much to do, to be honest. And then I started to try to sell that map. And people immediately fell in love with it. So I thought I was onto something. So I kind of made a business out of it. It kind of went viral in Rotterdam. It was a pretty cool period in my life. Just like seeing my own art hanging in design stores in Rotterdam, etc. But of course, it was all very local. And at some point, I moved to Colombia, and then I started doing other things. So that project kind of died. But I always had these maps and this art style in the back of my head, and I always wanted to do something with it again at some point in my life. So then I met Harm, and Harm has another project on Cardano, which is Cardano Space. Some of you probably know it. So then at some point it clicked in my head, and I realized maybe we can do something with this map art on the blockchain as NFTs. So then I approached Harm, and he was immediately enthusiastic about the concept. So then we started building it. This was about a year ago, I think, Harm.
Yeah, I think that's when we first met over coffee, and you said, "Hey, remember that cartographic art that I made? Wouldn't that work as an NFT?" And I was just immediately like, "Yeah, of course, this is brilliant. Let's do it."
Now
And
I got a
one thing
million.
led to another.
I got $1 million idea that I want to talk to you guys about, but it's a whole separate venture. But we'll talk offline on that.
Did you know that I have like one of the first turfs? I
Do
don't know.
you?
Yeah.
You do. I think you were the first winner of our first giveaway, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Of course,
Jenny,
it
you gotta
was
share
Jenny.
it. You gotta share it with me sometime. I'd like to see it.
It's Caracas, right?
Yes, it's from my my hometown in Venezuela. So I love it. I'll show it to you guys.
That's
I
awesome.
think I can actually pin it because we
Arm is
tweeted
so
about
fast.
it. Yeah, multitasking like crazy here, but let's see.
And you guys gave one to Charles. I remember he posted about it too. Super cool.
Yeah, you got a physical print of Boulder, and that's a whole other dimension of these turf NFTs that we think is super cool. That aside from them being sort of 3D interactive digital NFTs, we also supply a high quality printable art file together with the NFTs. And we sort of encourage people to hang those on their walls where possible. So also during the minting of the NFTs of the Cardano Summit, there's a 1% chance every time you mint that you pull a gold NFT of the Cardano Summit, and the gold NFT comes with a free high quality print shipped to your home. Yeah, we just think that's super exciting and can't wait for the sort of Cardano Summit NFTs to hang around the entire globe. So that's sort of one thing that we really encourage, and we also do that with turf NFT ourselves. You essentially can select the size of your turf yourself on our minting website, and if you opt for a relatively large one, a 3x3 block one, that comes with a free print of that turf NFT.
Awesome. Gold Rush. Sorry. Ugh.
I was just curious. Aside from perhaps getting the golden ticket, so to speak, is there any proposed utility for these Summit NFTs as of yet, or is that something that may be announced later?
Nothing official yet. We've been brainstorming a lot of cool and interesting things, but we haven't finalized anything around that yet.
BlockJock.
Morning. I'm just curious the plot sizes for each individual. What are the actual physical sizes of the amount of land it will cover?
So maybe it was me.
Sorry,
that
no, I broke
lost
up
some
a little
of the
bit.
sound.
So I'm just curious as to the.
Oh, do you mean like how big are the cities that are like in kilometers that are represented in the artworks?
So it's each individual city only, not the entire planet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No, so it actually is the entire planet.
Okay.
If
That's
you
what I
want to
thought.
grab a part of ocean, that's also fine. But relatively boring. So we've essentially split up the entire Earth in 2x2 kilometer squares.
Okay.
Yeah, each plot sort of represents a portion of a neighborhood, essentially. And if you then create a 2x2 collection, for instance, then those 4 plots will be joined together and merged into one NFT that is then 4x4 kilometers.
Cool.
And the same is possible with a 3x3, then it becomes a 6x6 turf. And we still need to work on this because merging these becomes exponentially harder on the computing side of things, but we want to expand that to 4x4, 5x5. Yeah, essentially bigger is better when it comes to these things, in our opinion.
So how big are the Summit ones? Are just specifically the Summit ones?
The Summit ones are all 2x2, I believe. Right, Ralph?
Yes. Yeah. The Summit ones are based on our official grid. So for the community events, they're all 2x2 indeed, or two. Yeah, so that is 2x2 squares, so 4x4 kilometers. It's putting some people off sometimes. And the main one for Lausanne is a 3x3 square grid. Yeah.
And I think the virtual one maybe too.
Can we pick
Yes,
our area?
that is true. Yeah, the virtual one too.
So
are we able to pick our area with the NFT, or is it just random what we get?
So for the Cardano Summit, it's connected to the event that you attend. For the regular NFTs, it is entirely based on what you pick yourself. So it's essentially first come, first serve for most cities, but not all cities are available yet. Like the most popular cities that are out there, such as New York, Paris, Beijing, aren't available yet. And those are coming available on what we've called the Global Mint event on December 1st. And those will actually work with a Dutch auction system instead of a flat price. But if you aren't interested in one of the top 150 cities, most visited cities in the world, and you just want your hometown, you can actually already mint that right now. I've just pinned a tweet with a link to our minting interface on mint.turfnft.com.
Okay, Cinnamon Bun, I see you in the audience. Do not attempt to get San Diego. I am way ahead of you.
So I had one other question. Maybe it got lost in the sauce. How did you get picked to do the Cardano Summit? How did that come about?
Right. Yeah, great question, actually. So it all started, I think, because Alex Maas, who is the partnerships manager for the Cardano Foundation, he followed us, I think, just because he thinks that this is beautiful art. And then the war in Ukraine broke out. And this was before we had gone live, I think. And then we just said, okay, we would really like to auction off Kiev, I think was the idea. And we sort of pitched that as an idea to Alex. And Alex said, well, we're actually working on a partnership with a very well-known charity. Maybe we can collaborate on that. And we had been in discussions for quite some time around collaborating with the Cardano Foundation and a charity to do something similar to the NFT-based money raising that was done last year with the tree organization. I forgot their name. I'm sorry. That was essentially a very long conversation where we were very excited to be able to do that around the Cardano Summit. But sometime during the summer, they actually reached out and said, you know what, we've been talking to the Cardano Summit organization, and they'd love to explore working with you for creating the official NFTs for the Cardano Summit. And then we just got on a call and we talked about it, and the organizing team seemed to really like it. And one thing led to another. Basically serendipity, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that's the word to use perfectly, and it's awesome to hear that story, and I'm glad that that's the way that it came about.
Yeah, it was honestly a very enjoyable process, and the Cardano Summit team were primarily concerned with making this as inclusive for everyone. So, and sort of trying to motivate people to actually go to the in-person events as well. And that's also one of the reasons why all of these community events come with a unique special NFT for that location specifically. And that we are adding this gold NFT component to it, which is a lot of fun, we think.
So I have a question. I know you had to sign up to go to the physical locations, right? If I just show up at Washington, D.C., I think is the nearest one, maybe New York, think they'll let me in?
I think so, yeah. At least at our early conversations, they did mention that that happens at times, and that they'll probably let people in, but I can't guarantee anything. Let's put it
Well,
like
I
that.
appreciate that speculation because now I have FOMO to go get I just want the NFT. Like I'm gonna go in, get the NFT, and then leave.
So I also know that there's a few places on the planet where they're actually doing the Cardano Summit a few days later, because not all of the community event organizers were able to secure a location or make it work for some reason. So then there's also Cardano Summits happening like up to a week afterwards. I know that in Amsterdam, for instance, it's actually happening on the 26th of November instead of the 20th and the 21st. So that means that if you're very, very motivated, you can get a flight to Amsterdam and actually get the NFT here too.
So I'm having this NFT drop later on. It's called Fly Hero to Amsterdam. And no, I'm kidding. But awesome.
I mean, from New York to Washington, you'll make, right, in one day. So
yeah,
I could at least mint 3 virtual New York, Washington. Sure.
Absolutely. I would catch a plane to Amsterdam. I've always wanted to go there. Maybe someday. BlockJock, Jenny, Kat, anybody got questions, or should I let them wrap it up?
No, I just wanted to say how beautiful the artwork is and how I love this idea. I like, in my head, when you said, oh, where would you own? I was like, I don't like Antarctica or something. It's not even a city. But yeah, I just love it. I really like it. I'm curious. It's such a cool idea. I think that it really lends itself to, like, I don't know, other things. I don't know whether it's not necessarily a game, but, you know, like having some sort of like additional puzzle elements where you hide little things in the maps that people can piece together over time. That'd be kind of nice.
I like that.
Right. So it encourages people to not just look and want to hold their own, but will actually want to look at all the different areas of the maps and things you might have, you know, placed in there just as a little Easter egg, maybe. I thought that might be a cool idea. But yeah, awesome. I really love the art style. It's beautiful.
I had one little thing. Are you leaving the policy ID open?
Woo! Raise your hand like the rest of the co-hosts did. Woo! TCT, you were first as a co-host.
You asked.
Thank you,
You
sir.
said my name.
Turf, if you can hear me over BlockJock, I would just like to know, where do you get your code? To claim the NFT, simply enter your personal code. Where do you find that code?
Yeah, so the code will be supplied in the swag bags, as mentioned earlier. If you attend to an in-person event, and for the virtual one, you will need to enter the virtual environment that I think will be announced, must be tomorrow or at latest Sunday. And there will be a little treasure hunt, after which you will be redirected to this page, but then with a code.
Gotcha. So it's after the event, right? You'll get the swag bag code in the swag bag. Got it.
You will get, so during the event, you'll be able to mint. And I think you should. Maybe this is good to mention because we're planning to close the minting the day after the event ends. So don't have this code linger in your swag bag for a week, because then minting will be closed already.
That's a good point. Something very important. Remember, mint your crap right away. Lido, you were next, and then Gold Rush had his hand up, and then BlockJock, since he still hasn't put his hand up.
So these Summit NFTs that are being issued, how long are they supposed to last? 50 years?
I'm not sure if I get the question.
The NFTs, I imagine they're being stored off-chain, the asset, or is it all on-chain?
No, the assets are off-chain. The assets are on IPFS. Yes.
Who's paying for the pinning, and what's the budget? 50 years?
It's through NMaker. So I imagine, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure about this. But it will definitely be for a considerable amount of time. It's a good one. I will write this down. I never double-checked this.
This is a question that Lido asks every NFT project, and I just want to say, haha, got him.
I think I should find out, because I think that NMaker has they have an answer for that. I'm gonna find out about it because anybody that's maintained through them, they have their own backup that they answer this question all the time. So definitely
There's their
ask.
own IPFS gateway. I know about that, but I don't know how long they will keep around the assets.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And appreciate Lido. I love that question. It stumps everybody all the time. Gold Rush, you had your hand up, and then I think BlockJock's question actually got answered.
The question that I was going to ask actually already got answered. But I guess just to go a little bit further with that, if we're in the virtual environment, it sounds like the other NFTs are going to be relative to the location where you would attend, but the virtual NFTs, are they special in any way as far as geographically?
They are special. So the virtual NFT, the art style is a little bit different because there is a Cardano logo incorporated into the art. But there is also a map since, we as Turf are just map art. So we are not going to disclose the exact location of the map, but I guess if you look at it closely when you minted it, you'll be able to figure it out. It's a nice little Easter egg.
The art just got revealed. So if you check my pinned tweet that I posted on the pins here, at the very end, I think it shows the virtual location one called the Summit Lodge.
And you couldn't have timed that any better. Thanks, Cardano Foundation.
Even more serendipity. Yeah, pretty cool.
So there you go, folks. It's pinned to the top. Turf, anything you want to finish up with? BlockJock, did your question seriously get answered? I won't mute you, I promise.
I appreciate you, bro. And I'm like running around the chicken with my head cut off or something else. I'm just curious because Kat brought up something that's really interesting having to do with creating almost a gamification for the NFTs. Is the policy ID going to be open or closed so that way you can actually effectively add something into the NFT project going forward?
Yes. So the Cardano Summit ones will be closed by the end of this year. But our main collection, the turf itself, is completely open. And this also allows for the merging as well as any other future features that we're secretly dreaming of. And like Kat mentioned, we are actually thinking about hiding stuff in the map and doing all sorts of fun scavenger hunts. So lots of possibilities and lots of excitement in the work. I guess maybe the only thing we'd like to add for now, at least from my perspective, is tell your friends to go mint that Cardano Summit NFT. It's free. It's a great sort of gateway drug to get people onboarded into the Cardano ecosystem. Also tell your friends who are into ETH NFTs or Solana NFTs.
Listen,
I think they can use a freebie.
Let me tell you the degen move. Go sign up all your parents, cousins, brothers. Go mint the virtual NFT and sell that shit on the secondary market. But make sure you keep at least 5 for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the way.
I appreciate you guys. Anything that you just want to finish up with?
No, I think this is it. It was a great conversation, guys. Thanks for having us.
Obviously, stick around if anybody else comes up. We're just going to kind of hang out. Last half hour of the show, we kind of just chit-chat. You're more than welcome to hang out. If you got places to be, I know time is money, so you can also leave. Don't feel obligated to hang out.
Unfortunately, I got to run. I'm already late for a call. It was great. I'll definitely listen to the post chit-chat once the recording is posted. Thanks so much, everyone.
Yep, and we will have it on YouTube, and I will be doing some very specific little fun clips if you want to share them out of the new shared of the show. It takes me a few hours to do that after the show, but you'll be tagged, don't worry.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Nice seeing you.
So, Privacy Coin, Midnight.
So Monero, if you guys look at Monero, it's held up like a fucking champion this bear market. It makes you wonder a little bit, but Midnight's pretty cool.
It's interesting that they're doing. I was watching a little bit as Charles was drawing on the whiteboard. I was trying to pay attention to host the show. And I was trying to multitask. It didn't work out very well. I paid more attention to the show than I did the whiteboard. But it was very interesting, some of the things I saw written on the whiteboard. So I can't wait to go back and watch it.
That's ridiculous. I didn't know. Okay, I saw Riley's post. Conrad's post, and that's where I learned about Midnight. So you're telling me that Charles made a video?
He did it live at Edinburgh University, right? It was Scott Fest, right? And that's where all the news was dropped. The USDA by Emergo, Midnight, which is this privacy coin by IOG, and I believe there's a couple more announcements coming soon.
Is that the big announcement, or is it not yet?
One of them.
I believe Midnight was the big announcement, but I don't know. So
it's a pretty big announcement.
It's huge. It's pretty big.
So you guys,
considering that it wasn't even on my radar.
Epoch, express into words just exactly, maybe ours here too, how it would impact us as a community. Because I'm not a Monero. I don't even know. I've heard of Monero, but I just not done any research into it at all. So
you are, listen, you're not going to like this, because knowing you're involved in very regulated projects. You want clarity and that type of thing. A privacy coin is privacy, right? I can make transactions and you can't find them, but I'll let somebody else explain it, Riley, because he's excited.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to know what exactly Midnight was, because I had heard this name from Charles when I was at Rare Bloom, and he told me that it was going to be announced in November, and he didn't tell me anything else. But the conversation was in the context of like decentralized social media, and I actually think that Midnight, which is a privacy-based blockchain using the Kachina virtual machine as something that it's implemented, right? It's targeting that in order to do execution of transactions, smart contracts. So you can have private smart contracts. You can have like systems where, for example,
can I just explain why that's important? As I'm U.S. Bank, and I want to make a deal with another company, and I want to do it on the blockchain. I want it to be private, right? So I think privacy smart contracts are very important. And I'm not saying banks are coming to Cardano. I'm just using them as an example.
Well, yeah, and like anywhere where privacy might be something that you want as a property of your system, being able to implement smart contracts that leverage privacy, I think is going to be something that's really useful for pushing forward innovation. And it's not something that's ever really been done before. I mean, the Kachina white paper has existed for a while, but to my knowledge, this is the first implementation of it.
I think you had your hand up first.
No, I think it was Pyro, actually.
Well, he likes to burn stuff, and I'm a fireman, so I don't know.
I will take the stage. No, I'm just kidding. So is this something good more so than for foreign foreign sovereign countries that want to use the currency that don't want to be tracked by the US, something of that sort? Or because I'd never used Monero. The only thing I remember about Monero was the guy who created the Norton antivirus used Monero. And we saw how that went for him, but
I don't think this is like Monero. I think it's the thing Riley just said, and the social media thing. Because when you read a thing, it's like data privacy.
What thing am I reading?
Midnight.io, hk.io.
Oh, is that the one pinned to the top? Is it pinned to the top?
I just went to the website. It's not a tweet. Midnight.io, hk.io.
Thank you.
Midnight will enable developers to quickly build and deploy data protection first dApps, right? This is designed for developers. It's a data protection based blockchain. And my favorite thing that is starting with TypeScript, so it will be super accessible to developers. But I think it's all about this data, right? You have data on a blockchain. How can that be private? I don't think this is about currency necessarily. So I don't know.
But he did also mention that there might be like another token involved, and SPOs that are participating in running this new network would be, in addition to earning ADA, they'd be earning this other token. So it's not sort of immediately clear to me whether or not ADA will be sort of the primary token of this chain. But it is sounding like it's a side chain, and this is kind of the way that IO intends for other side chains to be sort of bootstrapped within the Cardano ecosystem.
I have the cat.
We have hands.
Block. I have no idea. Fight it out.
Well, first. I'm gonna put my hand down because Riley twice now has said what I was gonna say before.
Nice.
I got to fucking speak. So fuck you, Riley. And yeah, I'm out.
So my question is actually about like when they say privacy, what does that even mean? Is it the transactions are private, the data is private? Which bits are private?
So it sounds as though it's going to be relatively selective based on user preference with regards to what is disclosed to whom. And so if a dApp developer wants to create a fully private dApp where all of your data is private, they can do that. The transactions are definitely private to the extent that, like, if someone wants to look at the chain, they can't tell kind of a whole lot from the transactions that are going on,
like,
right? So
they wouldn't be able to see it's gone from like one wallet to another wallet. They wouldn't know where it's coming from or going to. Is that
right? It uses zero knowledge proofs to implement an algorithm similar to something called CoinJoin, which is it basically every time that you have like an interaction with this system, or anytime anybody does, it makes it harder to distinguish who did what. And so the more usage the system has, the less you can tell who is doing what actions, because each action kind of has a percentage chance that one of n people did that action, but you can't tell which one actually did the action. And so there's been a lot of research into this, and it's hard to kind of relate it to the way that we express transactions in Cardano, because you could implement this in Cardano, right? You could implement this on top of the L1 if you wanted to, but it's a lot of math.
Yeah. And my other question is I can think of loads of really useful use cases, but like, how can this system be abused?
The dark web, people can use this asset as something that they want to receive for example, ransoms, right? If someone kidnaps you and wants to receive $1 million worth of this token or on this blockchain in order to release you, and
honestly, if someone holds me ransom and needs my mom to do some blockchain stuff, I am doomed, guys. I'm never going to make it.
I got you, girl. I got you.
Well, yeah, I mean, Monero's already used for this kind of stuff, though, and that's the reason that I pointed out is like Monero is kind of the thing that other people were pointing at, almost analogous to this, except this opens up more avenues for different use cases than Monero has, whereas Monero is just like send and receive private transactions.
Is there like secure? Obviously, it's got to be anonymous, but like, for instance, if you could have like a validating anonymous ID that's like self-sovereign, we saw a project like that. Could it be that users, or I don't know, like would there be stops and checks to try and avoid, like, because there's some dark stuff, and you don't want a good idea to be overrun with something like that, because it just ends up putting everyone off.
Nope.
Yeah, damn.
So, Whiskey, I think you were next.
Yeah, I was just going to say I've seen something like this on the Cosmos ecosystem. SCRT is the token name, so it's secret token, and they basically are their own chain, kind of like this, and you can wrap other tokens on there too. And then yeah, the way it works is I've only used it for a couple things, but you can send stuff through right to somebody else, and it shows the transaction go through. But yeah, you have no idea kind of who gets it. So I honestly think it would function similar to that secret token.
It's a secret. BlockJock, you were next, and then the king.
Two things, Riley. One is, as far as the characteristics of this particular protocol, is it going to be similar to the layer one as far as, and what I mean by that is that I have
It's a side chain.
A side chain. Okay. But when Charles talked about it on the whiteboard, he said originally we were going to do it entirely separate of Cardano, and instead we're doing it with Cardano. And I'm curious as to why they would make that shift.
Yeah, Cardano is not designed from the ground up to sort of allow for efficient privacy use cases. So while you could implement all of these use cases in Plutus, for example, it would require a lot more work and it wouldn't run as efficiently because those primitives aren't implemented in Plutus, right? They're not like, it's not something you just call from Plutus. It's something you would have to implement on top of Plutus. So there's a lot of that type of sort of decision making going on. But with regards to how similar the ledgers are, I'm not 100% sure at this point in time, and it's something I'd love to discuss as I learn more. But most privacy-based systems use UTXOs.
But also Cardano, I mean, this is always the plan. Cardano was never meant to be an NR BR, right? It's meant to be the thing in the middle that provides the security, and then we have all these sidechains that borrows from that security, right? So I think this was always the plan. There will be more sidechains.
I would agree with you 100%.
They also announced that they're releasing like a toolkit, right, for sidechain developers to make it so that you can create sidechains and kind of follow in the same steps that Mamba has taken. But I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to like look more into that. I saw a slide on that during his presentation.
I did hear that as well, right? Because that's the idea, right? When a company comes to Cardano, the choices are build a dApp, use something that's already existing, or spin up my own sidechain and like have my own rules on there, but have that security, be able to borrow from the main chain and bring that security into your sidechain. And I just want to put this out loud. Any sidechain and Lido Nation participate, we will definitely be sharing all of our rewards with our delegators. Thank you very much.
And
well, thank you, sir.
Lido Nation's also going to set that up for Hero Pool, so stay tuned on that.
100%. The king is going to get double rewards. That's awesome.
The king is coming. You were next, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on this new token that is being released called Dust. And what I find the most interesting question is, how are they going to distribute that token? Does anybody have any ideas about how they might do that?
Well, so
context on what Dust is, please. Anybody who knows?
Dust is that token that I had referenced before, Hero, that I had said would be rewarded to SPOs participating in running the network for Midnight. And I don't know if Dust was a placeholder name or if that's actually the name that they're going to use. But in any case, the distribution mechanism sounds like it will be primarily tied to sort of network operation similar to other systems, right? And SPOs in Cardano will be well equipped to start operating within that network as well. So it's something that's kind of easy to bring the current community into doing that. And then the distribution will hopefully be highly favored into the existing ADA holders, is sort of the idea there, I think. But I'm not sure if there's going to be like private distribution or anything like that. They didn't, or at least to my knowledge, make that clear.
That was my guess. My guess is that if you're staking, I don't know if it's going to be with every stake pool that generates a block, but maybe every, you'll be able to get these dust tokens. I don't know how they're going to control it, how they're going to make sure all of the staple operators distribute the dust tokens. I don't really know. So maybe there's something technical there involved.
When Charles talks about it, I think he leaves that up to the SPOs. In his video, he will say things like the SPOs can choose to keep that, or they could give it to their delegators. So I think the SPOs get to choose.
The SPOs get to keep all the dust. That's not fair.
I'm keeping it all. I want it all.
Well, I mean, if they're running the infrastructure, it potentially is fair, and it's not to say that you can't run that same infrastructure, right? So it's permissionless, and I think that ADA delegators are given a certain reward, and that's based on the Cardano network, and any sort of side chains get to choose their own distribution mechanism. But I think that it's probably also partially based on technical challenges around trying to do the implementation, right, in any other way. Whereas kind of having people delegate to SPOs that have regularly distributed those rewards equitably, it just makes sense.
Well, I think it would be fair, or more fair, if you like, if there's such thing, if somehow, if you delegate, you can make sure you get some tokens, because I don't know if these staple operators are just going to hoard and try to control the market.
That's why you should stake to Lido and Hero, because we're definitely not going to hoard, and probably Epoch too. We'll get him in on the deal. Who cares what the rest of them? If they hoard, you just come see us. We don't hoard.
And that's kind of what I'm saying, is you have to vote with your ADA. That's what delegating is.
I guess so. Yeah. If everyone's competing for delegators with ADA, and there's somebody that's hoarding, you might unstake, and you might choose somebody who's more generous. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that was the idea, right? It just gives another economic tooling for SPOs to be competitive, right? So I don't think we're gonna see a lot of hoarding. I think we're gonna see SPOs once Hero and I do it, right? People are gonna copy us. Then it will become the typical race to who's gonna give the most percent, right?
And when Lido says him and me, he means him doing it for me and me paying him.
Well, I'm expecting many people to start delegating, and I'm expecting many people to buy ADA as a result. So, I
will tell you this, right? Everything we do as far as distributing tokens, we always take into account loyalty. So that's all I would say. No, I'm excited for this midnight thing, and I'm excited now we'll have two reference implementation, right? We'll have Mamba, and then we'll have Midnight that other people can look at to like spin up their own side chains.
Lido, guess what I'm doing?
What?
I'm buying ADA right now.
Man, you're behind, man. I bought ADA like half an hour ago. 45 minutes. Come on.
You know what's funny? So I got my Catalyst distribution recently. I increased Lido pledge with half of it, and the other half I've just been sitting waiting for a good price so I can go pay my bills. So thanks for buying ADA. This is good for me. Keep buying. I'll sell you what I have soon.
So stable coins, huh?
Stable coins. Yeah, USDA.
Yeah, USDI or what's the Indigo one coming out next week?
IUSD.
Right.
IUSD. And if you want to learn more about IUSD, I'm going to plug another Twitter space. Subcritical, our friend Subcritical, did a show yesterday with them, and I'm sure if you want to find out all the information on that stable coin coming to Cardano next week, check it out. I'm going to buy more ADA.
Sub did a really great show, and he had some examples. He pinned some stuff up to the top as far as how to actually interact with it. And then, of course, one of the creators that were there. And it really, we'll see how it goes, but it looks promising. And it's 2 years in development, to come fruition here on, the 21st, I think, of December, I believe, somewhere around there.
I'm excited. I'll actually be able to trade into a stable coin.
December 1st.
Lots of
Sorry.
diversity here and coming up. It's exciting, honestly. Even USDA, which is really interesting. Apparently, it's supposed to be more like BUSD, and then USDM is more kind of like Circle. So it'll be interesting to have this diversity in the ecosystem, dude. Cardano is going to come in 2023. Charles was saying 2022 was supposed to be a good year, but 2023 is a fucking gnarly year. Am I fucking right?
FOMO.
Wow.
I got FOMO.
Yeah, man.
Gold rush.
I just want to say fucking A, right? And I also wanted to offer everybody a word of caution on the Indigo protocol right off the bat. They're only going to have one Oracle price feed. And you would ideally prefer to have multiple oracles so that they confirm each other. And so that's an extra point of failure at this point. Just in case Oracle Charlie has any kind of system glitches, it could liquidate everybody all at the same time. So that's just a word of caution going into Indigo. They said that they will have more oracles online within the first couple months. But just straight out of the gate, just proceed with caution with that in mind. That the Oracle, like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the Indigo protocol as it stands. As a matter of fact, they've gone through multiple audits, multiple audits. So I feel good about what they built. However, I'd feel a little bit better about it if they had more price oracles. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there as a word of caution. And man, like I said, let's do this thing, man. 2023 is going to be great.
Yeah.
Hey, Rush.
I think that comes from the fact that there maybe only is one oracle on Cardano.
Currently, yeah. And Rush, the other thing is he mentioned yesterday, is that it's almost like paper trading of sorts. So if you want to get a feel for it, go onto their test net and get in there and interact with it a bit. Don't use real ADA, use the T-ADA, and just interact with it a little bit and see how the whole thing works. Because getting in there and not knowing what you're doing, you're really going to lose money quickly if you're not careful.
And they said that they are going to leave that live. So their paper trading platform will be on the test net, and it will be kind of a permanent fixture there. So if somebody comes in new to the protocol a year from now, they should still be able to go paper trade on the test net. That's true.
And this is why the SPOs who keep the testnet up and running should be paid. Let's make that a catalyst proposal. That's my own opinion. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to, but
testnet coin. You got Santa pushing that really hard right now, and I think he's
so
really onto something.
I was thinking about this. Okay, so you could go and actually get paid in test coin, which is almost worthless, but not totally worthless at this point. The idea is to build value in that testnet coin by incentivizing the testnet, right? So that's kind of the whole idea behind that, and you can go read that website and all of that. But if you're just playing around on the Indigo protocol, right, so to learn how it works, you can technically, at the same time, you can go over to the Testcoin website and claim those tokens. And so you're kind of learn to earn situation right there, right? Because you're playing around on the testnet, and then that qualifies you for these other tokens that have nominal value, but it's not zero, right?
not like Hosky. That shit's zero. Always zero.
Please go to zero.
We still need to question how they're going to give all of these dust tokens to the SPOs, because there's 3,000 SPOs. Which ones are they going to give the dust
Only
tokens?
the ones that are participating in actually running the network will receive rewards in that network.
How many is that?
Yep. The people who sign up.
We have no idea.
So they'll probably have to sign up, and there may be a limit. So whoever signs up first.
It'll probably.
We don't.
I doubt there's a limit.
We could assume. Hold on. We could assume that, right? But we can also assume that it's unlimited, and anybody that wants to.
We just have to wait and see. It's all speculation until we have firm answers.
I would be, my speculation would be surprised if they didn't limit it. Like if it's permissionless, but like then again, it is privacy. I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, we could speculate on
They
that.
don't have to limit it, right? I mean, how many stakes will retired every week?
There's like proof of useful work, and it's like you naturally limit things, even in proof of work, like Bitcoin, right? There's things in proof of stake. The amount of stake available out there limits how many stake pools can actually mint blocks. There's no like permissioned system, right? I have a hard time thinking that with our current ethos we would push out a permissioned system for running a sidechain, but maybe I'm naive to think that.
Permissioned by who? I guess it's kind of permissionless, but you do need to pay the stake pool operators, right?
Yeah, but it's only like usually in the rollout while you're just making sure that everything's stable, that the first, rather than like rushing everyone in when, there's always going to be like this sort of, even though there's testnet, there's still going to be a somewhat alpha stage or beta stage on the mainnet. Are they going to have everyone in that? So it's interesting to see how they roll it out.
You know what I think? I think it is 11:30 and it's Friday, right? It is Friday. Somebody correct me on that. So that means I'm going to go get me some whiskey, some scotch, because I like my scotch and I like it on the rocks. So I appreciate everybody coming by this week.
Are you going to do the virtual summit, Hero, or are you going to go to one close by?
I'll probably do the virtual summit just because it's been snowy and cold here and I don't want to drive in this shit. So I'll probably do virtual. So I'll be around. Jenny, you going anywhere?
I'm going to do the virtual, which it looks pretty cool. So if you haven't signed up and you're going to be home, definitely sign up for that. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Last year was super cool. I'm sure this year is going to be even better. Tech has gone a long way in a whole year, so I'm excited.
Get them turf NFTs, and then sign your mom and dad up. Get them some turf NFTs, and then sell them the BlockJock because he'll forget.
No, I'm I'm looking forward to having one, and especially want the one around San Diego. Just represent because I lived there almost all my life, so that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the Pacific Northwest, because it's probably the most beautiful city out here, right?
Yeah,
I disagree, but whatever. Epoch, anything you want to finish up with?
You haven't seen Hero's backyard. That's just gorgeous.
It's pretty amazing, actually. Yeah.
I'll go take a picture of the biggest
in the
United States.
A euphemism?
Are you from California? Oh, yeah. Is it a euphemism?
No, I'm from the hills of Pennsylvania, my friend.
See, I don't even know where that is. I'm just kidding.
Anything you want to finish up with so I can close the show out?
No, I think happy Friday, everyone. Stay safe out there. I'm definitely excited for all the shit that's being released. This is, and especially with Midnight, kind of the side chains, like this is what I've been waiting for. So it's great to see things that I wasn't even aware of. I'm going to watch cartoons now with my daughter, and I hope you all have a great day and weekend.
Did they just call you Epoch?
Very exciting, very exciting. Speaking of new things, if you are a developer, if you're curious and you like Roundtable V2 is on testnet, so jump in the development channel in ADAO and test it out.
BlockJock, anything?
Cool. Yeah, pray for me while I'm at a rave over the weekend with my daughter and son-in-law. It'll be 2 nights of a bunch of crazy music, and it's going to be really a hell of a lot of fun. But keep me updated. Throw some tweets up on Twitter so I know what's going on with the summit. That'd be amazing.
Stay hydrated out there, BlockJock. Stay safe.
Tell Molly I said hi.
No Molly for me, unless someone accidentally slips it to me. It's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen, so be prepared. Lido.
Oh, great.
Go read a SIP 1964. DM Daniel if you're interested
1694.
1694, thank you. 19. I have slight dyslexia. Go read DM Daniel if you're interested in the auditability meeting that's coming up soon. And then so when you read a SIP, when you read the thing on midnight, bring all of that to Monday, because Monday is banter day. So bring the good banter. Lots is happening this week. Take notes. Have your sources ready. Let's talk about it on Monday.
We're going to finish up with 2 of my favorite ladies in crypto. So Jenny, you first.
Yes, and I'm so happy to see you, Kat. It's been great hearing from you today. I just want to talking about new things. Want to remind everybody that we have a YouTube going on that we will greatly appreciate if you give us you hit the little subscribe button, as well as TikTok, and follow the coffee cup if you're not following the coffee cup. Super nice coffee cup. So you want to have him by your side.
He brings warmth and caffeine into your life. Kat, it was so great having you here today.
Oh, I missed you guys. I'm glad I'm back. But yeah, my only closing remarks is if this was not enough proof to get your stuff off exchanges and into your own custodial wallets, there isn't going to be anything greater. So, take heed in what's going on. So protect yourself. Get yourself a hardware wallet. If you've not got one already, don't buy them secondhand. Buy them from the official source.
From
And
the
all of those.
link tree?
Yeah, it just so happens.
Right?
Cardano Over Coffee link tree.
So just, there's basic things to protect yourself. You don't want to be the person at the end of the day feeling really sad because you've got your stuff locked. So that's all. But missed you guys. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well.
We are
practice safe blockchain.
Practice safe blockchain. There you go, BlockJock. Kat, stop back more often, please. It's always great talking to you and getting your insight and your questions, right? I miss those beginners. Sometimes, us as hosts, we're all pretty well versed, right? So sometimes getting someone who has questions to come in is great. So please come back. You're still a co-host.
I will be.
Still a co-host.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not afraid to ask those dumb questions because I think sometimes I've been guilty of it. I sort of want to pretend that I know something, but deep down I'm like, what the hell am I talking? Oh shit. But as well, we get into this habit of using acronyms and stuff. And there's probably people in the audience that are listening that are new too. So anyway, I'm glad I can fulfill that role, guys.
I'm just trying to get you to come back. That's all. So
and if you don't know Kat and the work that she does, my goodness, follow her. She's just amazing at what she does. So I just love your work. So definitely stop by more often. We miss you.
We miss you.
I will be back.
We want you back.
I will be back. I'll be back.
Yes.
And
Very
happy
nice.
Friday, everybody. Happy Friday.
I'm going to plug one other thing. Kat's brother, who I'm sure you can see on her timeline, does some amazing work. I don't, not advice. You don't have to buy it, but at least look at it because you won't regret it. With that being said, I am Hero Pool, and I appreciate you all coming and listening out today. We'll be back Monday. Like Lido said, bring your notepad, and let's talk about what happened at the virtual summit. If anybody falls off the virtual summit land, I will be there to save them like I did last year. Well, I tried last year, but I miserably failed. So everybody have a great day.
Later.
Thank you.
I'll be in Miami. Come say what's up.